Welcome back in. This segment of the Sports Source is brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. People, I would rather find snakes, bats, rats in my house than bugs. I hate bugs. It's a phobia. I cannot stand them. Luckily, I don't have to worry about bugs because I know the Hayes family and their team at Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Locally owned since 1971. Commercial and residential jobs. Most importantly, these are good local people for you to deal with. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Can't say enough about them. Give them a check or give them a call this week and have them come out and give you a free estimate on what you might need in your home or your business. Southeast Termite and Pest Control. All right, I want to welcome in the next team. We've got here David Ligon, former Vol football player. Shazon Bradley, former Vol football player. Jimmy Himes, the host of Sports Talk, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 on Sports Radio WNML. And right down there, Chuck Cavaleras from Tennessee Golf Central and many, many other publications. All right. I'm going to start, and David and Shazon, you can jump in here if you like. But Jimmy and Chuck, I want to get going with you on this one before we dive into football. Let's talk a little bit about Dave Hart. He's the one that didn't give Conzo Martin much of a buyout, that kind of opened the door for Martin to leave. He's the one that did the search for Donnie Tyndall. He's the one that didn't use a search committee. If things with Tyndall go bad, like bad, how much heat will/should Dave Hart get?
He'll take a lot. Whether he should, I guess, depends on what the investigation says. But obviously, to me, if you have a pool of 4 or 5 coaches you're looking at, you should have vetted every one of them before you started interviewing them. And you call the NCAA, you call whoever you can to find out what they know background-wise. So, knowing Dave Hart, I think he probably did that. I just don't think he got any answers about any trouble. But that's not going to matter to a lot of people because they're going to look at it and say, hey, you hired a guy that's got this background,
yep.
And you knew about Morehead State, they're going to put that back on him.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's unfair. I mean, we brought it up on the week after he was hired, our first show after Donnie Tyndall was hired, and it didn't really get a lot of, it was kind of one question in the press conference, and he said, well, I didn't know what the booster was doing. We read the NCAA report. It was pretty strong. They seemed to think he knew what was going on, and the school wound up on probation and multiple sanctions, lost a scholarship. Chuck, your thoughts on this situation with Dave Hart?
Well, you would think on a scale of 1 to 10, it'd be pretty close to a 10. You know, because it's like you said, John, earlier in the show. I mean, how long did they know each other before the introductory press conference? And you're talking about a day. And is that long enough for something this important going forward, considering your recent troubles with the NCAA?
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to take heat no matter what the outcome is. I think it's going to be more so from the fan base than it will be from, you know, his manager. I think that's going to be a blurb in his annual review is, hey, this was an issue that you did not catch. You need to work better at that next time. But I think he's going to get more heat from the fans.
I'm going to say if this turns out to be true, the buck stops at the top. We have to consider how we do things from here on in.
Well, you look at this guy, and you know, I stand by the fact that he only knew the guy for X amount of hours. Now, to couch that a little bit, most searches are done that way. It's not like a lot of these ADs know the head coach for 15 years and hire them. A lot of it's made in that quickie, hurry-up kind of a deal because there are shows like us and everything else saying hurry, hurry, hurry. But at the same time, when it blows up, it's a bigger issue. And also, you know, no one likes a search committee. But would a search committee have been able to spend more time on what happened at Morehead State? I wonder if Dave Hart asked Donnie Tyndall, hey, what about this? And he said, oh, we're good. Oh, okay. How deep did that vet go on that front? One other thing that I wanted to point out in terms of Dave Hart and this situation, my view, your worst case scenario, and unless Tennessee's luck changes, that's probably what you'll get. But nightmare scenario would be this Tyndall thing blows up badly. For some reason, Hart isn't here. Then you got a football coach who's finally turning things around, and he's going to have a new boss. To me, now you're looking 18 steps down the road. But in terms of worst case scenario, you know, you don't want this basketball thing messing up football just as it's getting well. Do you think that's any kind of a fear or no? Do you think that if this goes wrong, Hart could be in any kind of jeopardy with his position?
I think it's possible, depending on what they find out. If they find out that he should have known, right, then yeah, that would come back on him. As far as Butch Jones protecting himself, just win, baby.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter what a new AD says.
You know, and there's every chance the Southern Miss situation really wasn't known until July. So when you're hiring Donnie Tyndall, nobody may have known it. But the one thing I would really be worried about in this were transcripts altered for players that were on campus that were already getting illegal benefits. To me, if you get into falsifying, documents like that, that's when it could really get ugly.
Somebody sent me a note on Twitter this week, and they said, "Is this Pearl bad or Sampson bad?" And I said, "Well, if it is what they're alleging, it's worse than lying or phone calls. I mean, if it's what they allege is true, and we're nowhere near knowing that.
Yeah.
That's the downside. Get ready for months of this. That's the problem. Anyway, all right. When we come back, Kentucky got absolutely bombed by Georgia yesterday. That was on Senior Day. Are they going to chuck it in, or should Tennessee be seriously concerned about the Wildcats? Tennessee's on this one-game winning streak now, and people seem to think that it's just going to slide right on into bowl season. We'll talk about the Kentucky game and just how seriously the Vols should be, the fans, should be concerned about the Wildcats. Come on back on the Sports Source.